on a day when people cannot come. So it becomes a board discussion of when you want to shoot for, and then I have Mr. Johnson just we'll check in those dates and make sure I didn't goof up on our calendar.
Someone want to make a motion for a date?
Second Wednesday following the first year. Second Wednesday, January.
The 9th.
Is that the one?
The only thing you have to run into there is that Monday is the board meeting where we introduce the new board, so you have a long Monday meeting. You'd be going 2 days after. That's why I stayed away from that week, just because you have, obviously Mr. Miller is not going to be there, you have a new board member, but you can still do it then. It's not a big deal.
What's the third?
The 9th and the 16th are the second and third Wednesdays of January.
January 16th?
Want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion that we hold the special election on January 16th,
16th?
2013.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Klitsky. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I thought, well, we'll take care of that. Being that all set up. And then information out to you guys.
Personnel action issues. Action to approve the following contracts. Assistant boys basketball coach Ben Mockfield, assistant girls basketball coach Joe Clay, future problem solvers coordinator Alexandra Edlin, 8th grade boys basketball coach Mike Kegler, boys varsity basketball coach Dean Newman, girls varsity basketball coach Mike Lee. I make a motion to approve those contracts. Is there a second?
I'll second. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Joe. All right, I'll second.
Miller seconds. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are these, when you say assistant coaches, are they JV coaches?
Yes.
Yep.
Considered JV?
Yep, JV. Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Question? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business, action to approve the annual report on curriculum, instruction, and student achievement for 2011-2012.
One of the many mandated reports that this one we no longer send into the state, but we have to now publish. So we fine-tuned all these numbers today. I'll send Ivan to you electronically because one of the requirements we have to do is put it on our website. We also give it to our Herald Journal. But website requirement is all that the state requires now, which tells you how much stock I think they put into it. But it's more for our patrons, and Mr. Schmidt already presented a lot of stuff on the test scoring and so forth. The enrollment numbers are on there, the MMR scores are on there. Just going to note a few things for you guys right there. If you look on the part that says for the class of 2012, it would be what, page 5? Well, back front side of your third page. That's we do a survey at the end of each year with LifeTrack with the seniors. That's the scores that come out there. That kind of gives an indication we try to do. Mr. Schmidt may be changing some of those questions this year for it. To continue that, it's a pretty cheap cost for us. They put everything together, and it's good information for the staff and the administration and the board on how the seniors go. You can also do a future one 5 years down the line. We haven't continued to do that because we weren't getting more than 8 9 people responding, and it just wasn't worth it for our 35 kids. And like Mr. Schmidt pointed out, 1 or 2 kids say one thing, 3 the other, and it's just it's a skew. So we're going to be working that stuff, trying to figure what we want to do there. Actually, we're looking at probably doing our own surveying eventually here. So Jeremy's got a class on statistics he's got to work on for his doctorate, so you can see he's got the numbers. All the testing schedule is in there. I just have to go through, and then the sheet that's Appendix C, which would be your front of your second to last page. That again shows all the MCA 2s and 3 scoring, again percentage. What Mr. Schmidt showed would have been like all the comparison of ups and downs of the scoring index. This is just as a straight percentage, and over the last 3 years that you have to show as compared to the state. And then we take a look at this to see what areas we're trending one way or the other to help us out with curriculum and staff and so forth, so. Information for you that will be on the webpage here, 1 week from today. And I have Mrs. DeBrucker put on if you approve the actual report. So if you have any questions or things you want to add, or if you see an error, we're trying to proof it, Office and I have, and remember it's for last year, in terms of most of the information, and of course testing for this year, so. Please do so. That's why we also give it a week, so if somebody comes up with something, you can let me know, we can make that change.
So we can approve this?
Yes, otherwise looking for approval for the report to go on our website and to the Herald Journal.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Politzky makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Heigl. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and possible action to approve.
She didn't get it to me about
Okay.
Marilyn, so it'll come next.
Action to approve collaboration agreement between Heartline Community Action Agency Head Start and Lester Prairie Community Education School Readiness. Is this the same contract that we've done every year?
Yeah, minor
Is there
changes just by numbers and instructors, so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the collaboration agreement. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's time now for Mr. Johnson to present his master's thesis
And I
project.
promise I'll give you the condensed version, not the 45-minute version that I had to give at the actual presentation.
Good idea.
Is that with questions?
That was with questions,
Okay.
yes.
Most of us only had to do 5 minutes, but you answer the question, no. Just kidding.
This was just finished in May. Both my wife and I finished our masters. Purpose of my study was one, just the success of our students, and then to look at the connection between participation in athletics and actually all activities, and then student success. What I looked at were 3 things: grade point average, test scores, and then social and emotional development, and how participating in activities affects those 3 areas. First part of the project focused on the research part of it, research part of the paper. And again, this is the stuff I'll kind of go through rather quickly because this gets into a little more detail than we necessarily need to here. I'll spend a little more time on the part that actually deals with the students here at Lester Prairie. These were some of the things that some of the researchers said that motivated students to go into and participate in athletics. Some of the research on grade point averages. The top one there, 2.12, was a grade point average of students who did not participate in any activities, and the 2.67 were those who did. U.S. Department of Education, they're 3 times more likely to have a GPA of 3.0 or better. And then they looked at high participation versus low participation. High participation should be 1 sport per year, and then low participation, obviously none. And overall GPA and math GPA were higher in those. They looked at some of the reasons why student athletes might be getting academic encouragement, academic assistance. They say physical condition and discipline might play a role in it. The one thing that I found looking at our students here were the 4th one, where prestige may produce a more positive self-concept and higher aspirations. When you look at some of the comments that our kids made on the survey that I gave them, you saw that a lot, was that they like the idea of people in the community knowing who they are, and then they want to keep participating and keep their grades up so that they're a part of what's going on. Test scores were the next thing I looked at. Males and females both had higher test scores when you look at SATs and ACTs. And as we've all heard, a musical background had a much bigger impact than even participation in athletics did. Social emotional development, all the research again pointed towards participation in different activities helping kids adjust better. It taught them responsibility. When you're looking at friendships, developing friendships, they tended to be the kids who skipped school less, didn't use drugs, and again, all part of that positive self-concept and self-esteem that people or students in activities tend to develop. So my hypothesis was simply that participation in athletics and activities will have a positive impact on student success. And again, student success, looking at this, is a higher GPA, higher test scores, and a positive social and emotional development. We'll skip that part. That just talks about what the research part was. The class I looked at Lester were last year's sophomores, this year's junior class. The reason I looked at them is because, one, I knew there was a very high rate of participation, and two, they're a pretty high-performing class for us. Test scores were always very good. Grade point averages were very good, and that's just some of the things we'll look at in the research. Here is the amount of participation. You see there are 27 kids surveyed. 13 of them participate in 4 or more activities during the year, and that's athletics, fine arts, drama, band, everything. So we, again, very high rate of participation with that group of kids. Here's looking at GPAs, and this is right in line with all of the research. 0 activities, they had a GPA of 2.5. The one in 2 activities, you see a drop-off there. That's 1 kid. And so that's why when I looked at the research, every single time that came up, that student who's in 2 activities has a lower grade point average, lower test scores, and it just, that 1 kid kind of threw things off, because what you typically see, or what you would think to see, is the more activities they're involved in, the grade point average should continue to go up. It did not for this one, so it's kind of a statistical anomaly, I guess they would say. But on the far right-hand side, you see 4 activities, a grade point average of 3.93, so almost a 4.0 for our kids who are involved in 4 or more activities. So definitely right in line with all of the research. Here is test scores. This was on the written composition they took. And again, you see a higher score for those who are involved in different activities, minus the one who's involved in 2 activities. So some of the survey questions, or these are the...
Can you back down just
yep.
On your 3 and 4s, you had 27 kids, you said, in that?
Yes.
And I thought I saw the number was somewhere around 13
and 5, I think it was.
3, 5?
Yep.
So 18 of the 27 kids in those top 2.
Correct. Yep. And then what I did is I asked 5 questions, survey-style questions, just to see some of the comments, why kids participate. The first one, kind of gauging how important they felt participation was. And these were just some of the comments. More time to be active, be with your friends, good exercise for the mind and body, keeps me motivated, keep my grades up in order to participate. Again, that's kind of a common theme that I saw through this whole class, was the idea of having that motivational piece to keep their grades up so that they can stay active and stay involved in what we have going on at school. Do they feel it had an impact on student success? Again, keeping your grades up, more positive things.